Hey YouTube, it's Wes. So the internet is absolutely abuzz with Chia. Everyone is talking about it. So many people have slid into my DMs saying I'm getting into this or asking me questions about it, which is really cool. Well, buckle up, my friends, because in today's video, we're going to cover all the things I didn't have time to cover in my last few videos. Quick shout out, if you haven't watched my previous videos on what Chia is, how I evaluate it, how to mine it, they are all here. They're in the playlist attached to this video. Go watch all of those if you want to get fully up to speed. All right, so we're going to cover a ton of links, a bunch of things you probably didn't know, and I'm going to answer a bunch of questions you guys have all been asking, including how the heck do I even buy Chia if I just don't want to farm but I want to get in on the action? All right, my friends, stay tuned. All of this and so much more coming right up. Hey my friends, welcome back to my channel. It is so good to be with you. I can't tell you how much I enjoy producing content just for you guys. I'm watching for the things that you guys like. I'm looking for comments. I love it when you hit the like button, you hit the bell icon, and definitely the subscribe button so we can stay in touch a whole lot better. That actually does mean a lot to me, and it goes a long way for my channel and the way the YouTube algorithm promotes content. So hey, if you found me just stumbling across in some weird way, like someone sent this to you or it showed up in your YouTube feed, hey, welcome. My name is Wes Spencer. I'm a technologist. I am a cybersecurity entrepreneur, and I love covering crypto on this channel. Okay, so without any further ado, let's jump into the world of Chia. This is probably going to be my very last time I cover Chia, at least for a little while, but this playlist is alive, so you can always go back to this. And if I have new Chia content to add as time goes on or more newsworthy events happen, I'll certainly cover it. So just give me some feedback as we jump into all of this. I am super open to all of that, and I read every comment. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this. One thing I just wanted to share, this is not really a newsworthy event, but it really got me thinking. So this was a few days ago, and I wanted to squeeze this into my last video, and I just didn't have time for it. But look at this. This is somebody on Reddit that's posting and says, my girlfriend freaked out because I screamed so loud when I checked my farm. And if you look at this image right here, this miner 5 days ago was mining about 9 terabytes of data, and he got his first 2 Chia. Probably when that happened, that was somewhere around $600. I could go back and check it mathematically, but today it's worth about $1,200 times 2, so $2,400 just overnight. And I wanted to start with this article because something has reinvigorated me with cryptos, specifically like Chia, the future of Pi, if it ever, truly comes to fruition. That's a big experiment and journey that we're following on this channel, and it's simply this. A lot of people want to go back to the original roots of crypto. And what I mean by that is finding an early crypto and actually getting involved in mining it with the resources you have at hand. We've seen so many crypto projects fall prey to like huge investment firms gobbling up the space, to big like mining farms like Bitcoin that just make it impossible for the everyday person to get involved. And I think the world craves, how do I find a crypto that's for me that I can get involved in with little to no cost? And if I take the time and the effort to get behind it, I want to be rewarded for that in an early way. See, I remember this in the earliest days of crypto. I was an early Bitcoin miner. Then I was an early Litecoin miner and several other cryptos as well, many of which failed, by the way. But that adventuresome time, at least in this era of crypto, has passed us by. And that's too bad. That's not so good for us. And Chia is an attempt to fix this. Now, I know the naysayers on this channel that you're watching, I respect your comments, right? Many of them are like, look, Chia within months is going to go the same way of Bitcoin. We're going to have huge data centers with tons of data. Well, maybe, maybe not, right? And the economies of scale are a big deal here that really impact this. And I'm hoping that we'll all be able to be involved in this. But I just wanted to start with this article because wouldn't you love to be this person that you wake up one morning, you go check your farms, and boom, you've solved a block. Like, I can't tell you how good that feels. In the early days of Bitcoin, actually successfully mining Bitcoin is so exciting. We're missing that today. And Chia is one way to do this. And I want to see more innovation in the crypto space, allowing the commoner like you or me to find a crypto, put our time behind it, and get rewarded for it without having to go buy it. right? I love that article. Okay, so moving on. There's one gold standard for you in the world of crypto. And if you don't know this, this is the place to start. Chialinks. This is literally just chialinks.com, and you can find yourself all kinds of information here. And I could spend hours on this, but there's no need to. You can go spend hours on this. You can go check this out. There's guides, there's information on plotting, which we're going to cover some of this. And by the way, tons of really good guides. A lot of you in the comments have asked, can I use this particular hard drive, or I have this set up, or minimum requirements, whatever. It's all right here, at least most of it. So check out all of this, really good data for you to go through. If you find yourself asking a question about Chia, there's a good chance that someone else has already asked it. And instead of hunting for it, just check out Chialinks. Just jump into this and look and see if there's any information here. And if you're somebody that's produced really good, helpful content for the community, you see this submit a link up here, that's also helpful, just as a great way for you to be able to contribute into the ecosystem and help others out that are just like you. So this is really cool. I'm also a big fan of like the latest updates, so you can see the new things that have been added in. If you just want to kind of peruse this and see, what else is out here that could be helpful for me, Chialinks is a great place to start. Okay, so that's the first really major news for you, is you need to go check out Chialinks and have this bookmarked if you're going to be in the world of Chia at all. So let's move on a little bit. And I wanted to check out, I've already covered the Chia calculator, but I wanted to just shout out and mention to this again. This is something you need to pay attention to if you're thinking about getting into this. How much space can you allocate? Now, you need to also remember that you're competing in growth with everyone else. That net growth that's happening is going to make it more and more difficult for everybody jumping into Chia. We know this, right? Bitcoin is like this in the world of mining and proof of work. So just know, if you say, look, I'm going to allocate, 30 slots today, or 30 plots today, there, I can't say it this correctly, of, about 3 terabytes expected 7 months to solve. Well, it may actually be much longer than that if there's a huge ramp up in growth that Chia calculator is not planning for. So these are things you need to really think about when you're kind of walking through the calculator. Just know that. And a lot of you have asked me things like, down here with estimated earnings, does this mean I'm going to earn $300 a month? No, it doesn't mean that. It means, at least with this data right here, it's going to take you about 7 months to win, just on average. It could be longer, it could be shorter, but that's a good average. And if you were to average that time out, it would be $300 a month. So they're not paying you $300 a month, it would average to that, right? So just wanted to clarify all of that, since a lot of questions were asked on that. Okay, so another question. You may be really thinking about, look, I'm going to get into Chia a lot more. I'm not going to just have one hard drive. I've got a couple servers or a couple like old Raspberry Pis with a ton of drive storage on them, and I've been spinning this up. How do I keep all of this in order? Like, how do I make my life sane with all of this? Well, there's a bunch of projects that help with this, and most of these I sourced from Chialinks, by the way, just full disclosure. So this one is, most of these are going to be on GitHub, so you can really check them out and dive into them. But this is Chia Plot Manager, so you can review this, see how it works. A lot of these, like this one in particular, is very, very well documented. So lots of good information on how all of this works, what's required, how to set this up, how to get it going. These plot managers just keep everything running, keep things healthy, make sure you have good awareness of, do you have a plot that failed? What they're also good at is helping automate all of the entire farming and plotting and seeding stages. So when a new plot has been seeded and created, the plot managers can go and grab those and move them elsewhere, even on another machine, which is really, really nice for us. So you can check this one out. You can check out Plotman. This is another one, very, very similar in functionality. A lot of these, what you're going to want to do, I can just tell you, having been down this road before, of not really Chia plot managers, but a lot of other open source platforms, you got to play with a bunch. See which one just fits for you. You may have some that have particular bugs for your hardware ecosystem, some that just don't make as much sense, or others that have better features that fit for you. So never be afraid of playing with like one plot manager over another, and get a feel for what you're looking for. Another example is this one right here, PlotNG. This is a really nice utility that gives you some visuals on top, so you can really see what's going on. Again, it's all based in the Linux world. It's helpful if you have like an Ubuntu box spun up, and you want to use this in the Linux ecosystem. And then I think, yes, here we go. I was making sure of this. If you're all in the Windows world, they even have, so this is Plato or or Ploto, however you want to pronounce it, I don't know. But this is Windows PowerShell based. So if you want to do, plot management inside of Windows and you want to stick inside PowerShell, which is native to Windows, here it all is. So again, I'm not advocating, I'm not endorsing any of these. As always on this channel, DYOR, do your own research. But I wanted to show a few of these really nice plot managers, because if you get into this and you have a lot of drives spun up and you're really diving in, you want to make sure your plots are healthy. You want to make sure they're always running. Anytime you have downtime, you have the chance of missing a block, and we don't want to have that happen. We want to solve as much as we can, and so this is really, really helpful for us with all of these platforms. Okay. So the next question that I typically get asked is, what happens if I don't want to seed and create my own plots? I don't have the speed for that. I don't want to waste my SSD. It's just not for me. I don't mind like storing these plots. I can do that easily, but I just don't want to get involved in creation of the plots. Well, there are plenty of sites that are out there that are coming up that are allowing this. So Chia Factory is one. You can take a look at this guy right here. So they're showing K32 plots in about 8 hours. They can do 3 in parallel per user. Current capacity is 30 terabytes a day. And that's something important to remember is all of these platforms that are doing this for you are going to experience a lot of demand. And so if you want to get in one of these, find one that you like for the price that you're comfortable with and jump into it. Just recognize you may be waiting in a queue for them. So this is kind of cool. Now there's some really interesting things with some of these that you want to keep in mind. Some of these will even go beyond just creating the plots, and they'll even, if you have like FTP set up, they'll authenticate into your FTP and send you the plot directly, which is really cool. So you can have all of this happening automated, day or night, whenever you're awake or asleep or whatever. That is really nice for us. It's super helpful to have that happen automatically. So check these guys out. You can hit view your orders right here if you're in the platform, and it will give you what's going on in the ecosystem. So you can see how all this works. Let's say I want to do, 25 plots. It's going to take them about 2 days. It's going to take about 11 hours of download time on my end, assuming a 30 megabit connection. Let's say I have something faster like 150 megabit, 2 hours, not so bad. It's going to cost me $157. So how does that work? Well, I would go back to all of this, and I would go back to my calculator, and I would run the numbers and say, does this make sense for me across the numbers? Again, as always, DYOR. You've got to make sure this works for you. Now, one question that does get asked a lot: are these things safe? I mean, if they're creating the plots for me, why don't they just steal them and mine for me? Here's why. Because you're giving them your public key to do this. If you're not familiar with how cryptography works, you have a public key and a private key. The public key is the wallet that you use to receive crypto, and it's also what you can use to authenticate or sort of sign your individual plots. And as long as nobody has your private key, theoretically, you could share your plots with the world and no one could do anything with them because you're the only one that has rights to them. This is how cryptography works, and Chia wisely makes use of this. And so just make sure if you do one of these that you send your public key. If you don't know what your public key is, go to your Chia app and you'll see it in the wallet. It's the same as the receive address, and that's what you can put in there. And they even kind of describe all this right here. So just keep in mind, one thing you want to look out for is if there's some kind of scam that's out there and they're promising to do like plot creation for you and it's super cheap and they're asking for your private key or your like 24-word recovery wallet, something like that, that's a huge red flag. Never give that. And of course, that's going to be a scam. And also, this is super cool. Look at this, even a pool public key. So if you're mining inside of a pool, they can automatically encode it with your pool public key that you're participating in as well. So that's nice to see. So there's quite a few of these that are out there. Here's another one. XCH Plotter is another example of one that's out there. So you can check out a lot of these that are there. Chialinks will have a lot of links to each of these. You can find the ones you like that you're the most interested in that seem to have the price that, are good for you, and of course the availability for you as well. The next thing I wanted to cover is faucets. So there's a user that reached out to me that just DM'd me directly, and I am not endorsing this by any stretch of the imagination, but I did play with it. So this is a Chia faucet, and this user in particular is like, hey, look, I just want to get some interest out there. And faucets harken back to the super old days, even of Bitcoin, in which there was so much Bitcoin available, it was worth so little. People had faucets spun up, and they were literally giving you free bits of Bitcoin, Satoshi slushies, so to speak, that you could just grab from any faucet that would drip to you. I did a few of those way back in the day. And so here's one as an example. So they're claiming to give out a whole bunch of zeros, 5 XCH. So it's not worth much right now, but if you just want to play with it, you've never been involved in crypto at all, this is an easy way to do this. Keep in mind, all you're giving them, again, is your public key, just like those plots. So it's safe to pop that in there and hit claim. I did this just a few minutes before the video, so I can't verify if I've actually got a return on this, but to the user that submitted to this to me, hey, thank you. I hope this is real. I can't authenticate it, so DYOR, as I always say for any project or anything that I show you, but I did want to show you, hey, some faucets are coming out with this. That's kind of a neat thing. I'll post a link in the description down below if you want to check this one out, and I thought that was pretty interesting. Next thing I'll cover is this, and I told you we're like full fire here. We're covering all of the cool things I just didn't have time to get to, is this. A lot of people have asked, well, wait a second, why can't I just use cloud platforms and infrastructure as a service to do all of my plotting? For example, AWS or Azure or Google Compute, something like that. Well, you can actually, but the profitability is going to be the challenge. I want to show you some things with this. So I saw this come across on CoinDesk. I really like CoinDesk. I read them a lot. So they were claiming that Amazon, at least the Chinese AWS, was giving a link on how to actually build Chia mining themselves. And that link has been taken down. So you can check this article out. I'll put it in the description. But the link that's referenced here, just 404, is out, so you won't be able to see this. But this does get a lot of people thinking, why can I not use this? And I've talked to several of my friends that have experimented with this, and here's what they've learned. Plot creation inside of AWS, Azure, etc., is actually pretty cheap. You can effectively do that. The challenge that you're going to run into is, I'm going to show you this right here. A few people have tried this, and it's not the creation. I'll post this Reddit link. It's the getting the data, getting your plots out of AWS or Azure or whatever. They're going to be the challenge. See, AWS in particular, just to use them as an example, anything transferring inside of your AWS infrastructure, there's no cost to you. But when you want to release that out of AWS and send it to you directly or a customer or whatever, there is charges for that. It's 9 cents a gigabyte for outbound transfer out. I know this because at Perch, the company that I ran, occasionally we would have to do data transfers out, and it was expensive if it was a fair amount of data. And so this is where the challenge is going to get. And you can read more about these folks here that were trying this. They ended up, initially their costs were $37, but they were able to pull it down to about $13 by moving to cold hard drives, which again, a cheaper way to do this, but they still had to move it out in order for this to be used. And that's where that 9 cents a gigabyte came into play. And they just realized, it's cheaper to do this from home. And so I suspect that a lot of these guys, like, the Chia Factory and others, they're not doing this in the cloud. They're doing this in their own data center that they have control of. They have their own SANs, their own infrastructure, and they're just doing this for you. That's what I suspect is happening with a lot of those guys. So in other words, to answer the question, can I use AWS, Azure, Google Compute to do all this? Yes, you can, but the caveat, I don't think it will be worth it for you because of the data transfer out cost. That's going to stack up really, really, really quickly. And everything I've looked into, it doesn't seem like it's a cost-effective solution to continue to farm natively inside of one of those platforms. So I wouldn't recommend it, but I am super interested in case one of you guys that follow this channel are doing this successfully. Give me some data on how it works. I'd love to see. Next thing I want to cover is how the heck do I buy this, especially for the US. Most of my channel followers are in the US, but I do have a large group that's outside of the US. And so there are a number of exchanges where you can buy XCH or Chia. And I'm going to show you a few of those. So if you go to CoinMarketCap, you can see Chia Network here. You can see it's trading at about $1,000. Before I jump into that, let's just get into the overview real quick and take a look at what's happened here. So if we do like a 1-year chart, you can see we had that big spike in the early days. It then kind of settled. And then as the wallets and Chia got close to release, you can see it spiked up quite a bit into the $1,200, $1,300. And then it's kind of gone back down and back up, but it's really stabilizing around that $1,000 threshold. Now, this is not price analysis in this channel. I'm just showing you Chia is pretty expensive right now. So if we go to the market here, you can see all of the places that are offering Chia. And a lot of you have been like, I just want to buy some. I don't want to mine it. How the heck do I get my hands on it? Well, here's your answer. You can see all the exchanges that are involved in trading XCH. You can see the volume, all of that good stuff right here, price, all of that. So you can start touring through some of these. Like here's MXCs, here's Gate.io, here's a whole bunch of these. these. Digifinex, here is OK Exchange, all of these. But here's the problem you're going to run into. You're going to get into this and be like, wait a second, none of these allow me as a US citizen to get involved. So how the heck am I supposed to do this? It looks like I'm completely locked out. Well, I, in this channel, love to do shout outs. It's fun to help other people and other creators. I did some of that in the pie videos I've been creating. I want to show this one. Here's a shout out to Coin Breakthrough. This guy is super awesome. I could just produce my own video kind of copying his content, or better yet, I could just refer you to him. He shows you the essential basics of how to actually use Gate.io if you want to get your hands on some XCH. The short of it is this. You're going to need US dollar or Tether, one of those kind of stable coins. You move it into Gate.io. Even as a US citizen, you can do that. You can make the transfer there and then send it wherever you want from there. And so he covers all of that. It's very, very helpful. He's got a great review and a great walkthrough. So check out his video because he does a much better job than I could possibly try to do in the squeeze time I have here. And plus, he's just an all-around awesome dude. So check that out. It's a great place to go if you want to see what you can do if you want to get inside XCH. Gate.io is currently one of the few options that are out there. Now, I do think you're going to see some major exchanges start to offer XCH. The volume is too high. The value is too high. So you know Coinbase and others are going to be sniffing at this. And you know the Chia team, if you watch my intro video, they have the capital for sure to pay and to get into some of the major exchanges. So stay tuned. I do think you'll see that happen at some point. The last thing I wanted to do is just give a quick shout out again to Caleb and team because he has got a pool here. And there's a lot of pools that are going to start coming out. Go to Chialinks for more, but I was just checking out what Caleb has to offer because his channel is super awesome. And here is his, he's calling it Galaxy Pool. It's galaxypool.space if you want to see the actual URL for it. But you can check out more about him, the team that's involved in this, and you can join them on Discord if you want to get in early on his pool and he has that set up. So that kind of gives us a quick, fast-paced tour through a whole bunch of links and things you probably didn't know. If I could sum all of that up for us, I would say this. Check out Chialinks. That is the central go-to repository for everything that you need to know for Chia itself and anything that comes up in the future. All right, guys, I hope this has been helpful. I've thrown a ton of answers from a lot of questions you've asked me all through this video. I hope this gets you on a really helpful starting point, and I'd love to know your feedback, your questions. Are you involved in Chia? What do you like most about it? What do you think are the challenges? And what do you think is the outlook for the platform itself? I would love to know. And while you're here, would you hit the subscribe button? Could you hit the like and the bell icon for me? It does go a huge way for this channel, as I mentioned before, and it means a lot to yours truly as I grow content specifically for you, my friends. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have an awesome day.